The title and the thumbnail are really clear, guys. Going to be predicting every club's leading goal kicker. There's no extra info I need to give there. But this is going to be with a twist, a point system, if you will. So, if I can correctly guess the club's leading goal kicker, I get a point. And if they are the equal leading goal kicker at the club, I get half a point. However, there is also going to be a lock system, which very simply is going to be one player will receive a single lock, one player will receive a double lock, and one player will receive a triple lock. And very simply there is if the single lock player is the leading goal kicker, instead of 1 point for that club, I get 2. The double lock, instead of 1 point, get 2 extras. The double, get 3. Instead of the triple lock getting 1 point, triple locks, 3 extra points, 4 points for that club. And the catch is that if my locked players are not top 3 in their club's leading goal kicking, I will lose the amount of points equal to the lock. So if my triple lock player does not come in the top 3 of their club's goal kicking in 25, whatever my total is, it'll be -3. So with 24 available points here, I am saying my pass mark in mid-Feb is 13, just over half. And you can also play along at home. Comment who you think is going to be the leading goal kicker at every club. Do your single, double, and triple. And let's make this a little bit of a competition. But here are my guesses. I'm also doing this in reverse ladder order because it's kind of getting boring doing everything in alphabetical order. So let's start with the Tigers, and I'm going to go with Tom Lynch. Actually sat 2 rows in front of Tom Lynch at the Luke Combs concert on Friday. Well, the Friday that the Luke Combs concert was at Marvel Stadium, which was surreal, to be honest. Didn't get a chance to chat to him for too long, just said g'day, but he was taking photos with fans, and overall seems like a really nice guy, which compared to his on-field persona, especially as a Hawthorn fan who has watched him when Richmond were really good, and beyond that, kind of messes with the reputation that he's got, but I actually love that. But also with the Tigers, who else is going to be their leading goal kicker, to be honest, right? Ryan Mansell, Seth Campbell, these guys. Yeah, like Jacob Kaczynski's playing down back or training down back, so you're looking at like a Jacob Blight? Yeah, I don't think so. So I think we're going to lock in Tommy. And they say never to meet your heroes, but I reckon Lynchy handled it really well. North Melbourne's going to be pretty easy. It's Nick Larkey every year that he's healthy, and the addition of Jack Darling, which I know is getting blasted by Kane Corns and by other people, whether it's fans, media, whoever, that watched him at West Coast and obviously saw him struggle. Now, the interesting thing for Jack is that he did lead the Eagles last year for pressure acts in the forward half. So if he's able to bring a little bit of that and help lock the ball inside North's forward line tick, but he is also a bigger body that you're not going to be able to double Nick Larkey with 2 premier key defenders. So if you just use someone like GWS, for example, it's not as if Jack Buckley is going to have the freedom to leave his opponent and come and help out Sam Taylor. Now, granted, it might be a Harry Himmelberg that might be able to drop off, I suppose, but when North play GWS, I would be telling the likes of Zerha, Zane Dersma, these guys, even Luke Parker, if he's playing forward when he's out of the midfield rotation, to hit up at the ball carrier. And with guys like Colby McKercher, Finn O'Sullivan, these guys who will be Harry Sheasel, of course, Luke Davies-Uniacke, lowering your eyes and hitting up your medium-sized forwards is going to be the way to go. So I think Nick Larkey might be one of the better key forwards in the comp in second halves of games. But he's going to win it at North, surely. How many games would he have to play? He could probably lock it up with 16 to 18, to be honest. The Suva. West Coast, I'm going with Oscar Allen for 2 reasons. One, in order to drive up the probable compensation if he does go to the Lions, means that he's going to have a career year, and it is a contract year. This is by no means disrespectful to Jake Waterman, and I am not in, and with all due respect to Jake Waterman, I'm not saying that he is going to go from the 53-odd goals that he kicked last year to like 15. That is not what I'm saying in the slightest. I just think the upside in what Allen is going to have to bring, either for West Coast to keep him or for someone else to come and get him, means that he is going to have a career best year, and that's what I'm banking on. I am not suggesting that Jake Waterman is going to do anything negative this year. Hopefully he can be a great second or even first option if that's the way that it goes for the Eagles this year, and they just need some small forwards to come along for the ride. To the Crows, going with Riley Thilthorpe here, and let's just say I'm jumping on the Thriller bandwagon, to be honest. The size that he came back at in the last portion of the season last year, so he played 7 games last year, and he actually led the Crows in those 7 games for average goals per game. Seeing how fit he looks over the preseason is just chef's kiss. Yes, Tex is still there, who is going to help impact the scoreboard. What's Rankin and Rochelle going to be able to bring? Ben Keys as well as the option. However, I still feel like Thriller might be the outsider pick because I can completely understand people thinking that Darcy Fogarty is going to do really well, and the mix at the Crows is going to be really interesting, but Thriller for mine is just going to be such an enormous beast that I'm jumping on board, to be honest. It's not like me to jump on an Adelaide bandwagon, but I'm doing it for Thriller. So there you go. Over to Melbourne, and I really do hope, like if I did this on hope rather than prediction, I would say Jacob Van Rooyen. I just hope he has an awesome year this year. I can kind of understand the hypocrisy in not picking Cozzy Pickett for the D's, considering that he might be going to WA next year. Of course, the rumour about the texts to Freo players saying he's going to be there next year is obviously a worrying one, but I'm still going with Bailey Fritsch. I just think the credits on the board, the way he's able to play that hybrid forward role is that he is too good in the air to have a small defender on him, and he is too good on the ground to have a tall defender on him. Yes, some clubs are going to be able to handle him better than others. That is the way that every forward just about in the competition goes, unless you're Jesse Hogan last year or Charlie Curnow the couple of years beforehand, where it just seemed like you did really well against everyone. Even those two had poignant anomalies, I suppose, throughout their Coleman medal winning seasons, and I'm not saying Bailey is going to win the Coleman this year, but I'm going to go with the devil I know rather than the devil that I don't know, so it's the Fritter for me. Gold Coast, Ben King, I've already talked about in my bold calls video that I think Ben is a smoky for the Coleman medal this year. I just think the way that Gold Coast are going to be able to play and deliver the ball to him inside 50 is going to give him a really good chance to be up there again like he was last year, finishing top 5. I think he's a massive chance to do that again. I'm going to love to see what Jed Walter is able to do this year. Are they going to be able to get maybe Ethan Reid up there? Is Mac Andrew going to play the same forward hybrid role that he played, especially in the game against Essendon where he kicked the goal after the siren? Is that the way that they're going to be able to approach it? The tall forward situation at Gold Coast is something of an intrigue, to be honest, but let's be honest, it's Benjamin, and let's move on to St Kilda, and I'm actually going to go with Max King here. Yes, I know the durability. Yes, I know the body fragility. Yes, I know it's St Kilda, but there's no Membry there, and it's either going to be him or Jack Higgins. You would think Dan Butler would have to have a much improved year on last year. We would have to see a season from Cooper Sharman in full that we have just not seen from him before, and if Rowan Marshall and Harry Boyd play in the same side after Marshall comes back from injury, are we really saying Rowan Marshall's going to kick more goals than Max King this year? And look, if you think that or think it's someone else that's not Max King, you're a little braver than I am at the moment, but surely at some point the big full forward's going to take over. Essendon's up next. It's Kyle Langford. Stringer's not there. Where are the goals going to go? I think you've got every right, pardon the pun, in thinking that 2 metre Peter is going to be the one to take the majority of those goals. What's Isaac Keiko going to look like when he gets back into this side, I should say, not back into this side, and maybe there are another couple of sneaky options. I mean, if you've still got faith in Archie Perkins at this point, but he is very firmly on my I'll believe it when I finally see it kind of tier of players in the AFL at this point in time. So, again, I'm going to go with the ye old trusted asset here in Kyle Langford, which it's an extraordinary turnaround considering that 3 weeks before he went up forward, he'd done that entire preseason. I think it may have been either 23 or 22, where he trained that entire preseason as a defender, went forward and has kicked a lot of goals, 90 plus, I think, in the last couple of seasons. So, shout out to you, Kyle. Fremantle. Yes, Shea Bolton may be your smoky if you want to, even though he's dealing with an injury at the moment. But again, I'm going to trust one of the 2 big key forwards. And whilst I love the big kahuna, I'm going with Jai Amos here, who looks like he has put on shape, which we love. Getting a little bit stronger is going to be awesome. We know that Justin Longmuir and Freo did go to the umpiring department later in the year to talk about Amos's unfair treatment or maybe missed decisions by the umpiring fraternity. So we'll see how that writes itself in 25. I don't know how that's going to go, but sometimes when you combine man crush, potential, upside, and the fact that I'm kind of all in on Freo in 25 means that you've just got to give it to my man. And all I'm saying is that if the Hawks had a drafted Jai, it would be him up forward with the likes of Cole Shadir later on. And if Mitch Lewis is fit, can you imagine going into a late September with a Mitch Lewis that has played 10 weeks in a row and Jai Amos surrounded by Nick Watson, Jack Ginnivan, Dylan Moore, Connor McDonald? And keep in mind that Jai and Josh is like this as well, I understand that. Beautiful kick for goal as well. So that's got to count for something, I think. Over to Collingwood, I'm going to go with Bobby Hill. Yes, Brody Mychek is an option here. Dan McStay, if he can get a full season in, he's also a very worthy option. But Jamie Elliott's still going to demand the respect of either the best or the second best small or medium defender. Bobby's bag of tricks, I think, is going to come out. Yes, he won the Norm Smith medal in 23 and led Collingwood's goal kicking for the majority of 24. And I just think that form is going to continue. I don't see a reason why he's going to retract. I think Collingwood having another offensive option, if they can find it, is actually going to be to his betterment, if I'm being completely honest with you. And I think that there are better key defenders in the competition than there are genuine lockdown small to medium defenders. So that, I think, will play into Bobby's hands in a big way. And if the Pies are going to go further than they did last year, and I suspect that they will, they just need to remain healthy, especially amongst their senior players, then having a faster game style and more inside 50s is, of course, going to lead to more opportunities. And I think he is one of the more opportunistic guys in the league and can even take another step forward this year, hopefully. Carlton. It's Charlie Curnow. I know Harry Mackay is going to be a popular option here, and look, there are a couple of small forwards there. We'll see what happens with Jesse Motlop and Ashton Moyer this year. The Blues forward line's pretty exciting, I'm not going to lie to you. Unless, again, injury stops Charlie here, he still is one of the better key forwards in the competition. All right, he just is. For longevity, especially in the last 3 or 4 years, it's him, it's Jeremy Cameron, and they are the only two options. Yes, in the last 12 months, you are adding Jesse Hogan into that conversation. I'm not denying that for a moment, but he's a top 3 key forward in the competition. If he's not in your top 3, you're wrong, and I just don't see how not backing him in here is going to do anyone any good, because I think if you're not picking Charlie, you're predicting him getting injured, and I don't want to do that to any opposition player. I don't want to do that to anyone. Onto the Hawks, and to be honest, I don't really feel great about the Hawks' options. I'm going to go with Dylan Moore here because there's going to be a full preseason round 1 of Mabior Chol here. I think it's definitely going to be one of the smalls. Dylan proved that he could do it last year. Yes, Connor McDonald chimed in with some goals at important times. We know Jack Ginnivan, who kicked some nice goals last year. If Nick Watson, of course, can improve his goal kicking, which it looks like he has from some of them that have been down to training, some more credible than others, but that's a whole nother story. And that's across the league, by the way. That's not just Hawthorn. I'm pumped to see what the Wizard can do, but thinking a 19-year-old is going to win the goal kicking is outrageous, I think. But yeah, Mabior, Dylan, probably the same as last year. I'm going to go with my man Dilzar, and hopefully he can get the job done. But both of those boys, Dylan and Mabior, if they've got one thing in common, is if the Hawks get back to finals, those two are going to need to improve their finals reputations. Yes, Mabior was not good, publicised, and I even did it as a part of my Hawthorn video. Dylan Moore did not have a good final series either, and no one loves him more than me. And love sometimes is pointing out the things that aren't making you happy or fulfilled. And Dilza, as much as I love you, and no one loves you more, that pun was intentional. Once September hits, my friend, it's go time. And he knows that. To the Western Bulldogs, will this surprise some people? I don't really know, but with Jamara not there, or seemingly not there for the rest of preseason, and hopefully his personal issues, whatever they are, can get sorted as quickly as possible. The two easy options here, I think, are Aaron Norton for the majority of people, and I still think Cody Waitman as a smoky is pretty good, depending on how the Bulldogs can utilise their game style. I'm actually going with Sam Darcy here. I think with the fact that they added Braden Crossley to their SPP list, yes, I know Jordan Sweet departed at the end of 23, but I just don't think Sam Darcy is going to be anything other than a tall forward this year. Jordan Croft is training on a wing. Jamara is not there, or maybe won't be there. I don't know. But if Jamara, Norton, and Sam Darcy are there, you are putting your third defender on him. And I think he's going to be able to take advantage of that. Yes, the more goals he kicks, maybe he's going to get the second or the first best defender. But a full season, I honestly reckon he could take the genuine piss this year. I really do. So, is this the obvious pick? Is it not? I'm not sure. But Sam Darcy for the Dogs for me. To Brisbane, no Joey Danaher down there. So who's going to get his goals? Now, I'm not saying that you are going to get all of Joe's, I think, 57, 58 goals in 2025. I'm going to go with Charlie Cameron for one reason, and I think that the only 3 players in Brisbane's forward line that are not going to be used as higher half forwards, so I still think Cam Rayner, Zach Bailey are still going to be a part of that group. I just don't think Eric Hipwood, Charlie Cameron or Kai Lohmann are going to be up on the wings all that much. I don't think Eric Hipwood is going to be at all. I think if they are going to use a player down the line in order to create a contest, it'll either be Darcy Fort, Sam Day, one of these guys. Logan Morris as well will be one to consider as that kick down the line. I just think Eric's going to be that deeper forward. I think it's going to be a more athletic forward line. I think it's going to open up a little bit more. And whilst, yes, Charlie is getting towards that veteran age and status now, he's still got fuel in the tank. The boy is lightning fast, and I reckon he gets it done. Over to GWS, and suggesting it's going to be anyone other than Jesse Hogan, I think at this point in time is foolhardy. We'll wait and see what happens. Of course we will. But what else do I need to say here? Jesse won 50% of his offensive one-on-ones last year. When GWS kicked the ball to him in a contest, he won 50% of them. What more can you say? In terms of players that played over 14 games last year, that was the best in the comp. So, unless that drops significantly, it's going to be him. Going to be cool to see what Toby does, though. Speaking of guys that are getting towards that veteran status, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. Brent Daniels, who I think is going to be a smoky for the All-Australian this year. Going to be fun. I don't know if I'm buying the Giants. I don't think I am, but it makes them intriguing. Over to Geelong, yes, you've got Shannon Neal, you've got all these medium forwards, but I'm still going to go with Jezza. Yes, he can roam the ground and do what he does, but number one, I think he can punish the bad sides. I really do. And also, I think the spread amongst their medium forwards is just going to be too much for one of them to take a step and go past Jezza. And the same thing with Charlie Curnow. Going against him is going to be, a hot take. And look, if you get it right, all the credit in the world, all of it. I will not deny you that for a moment. I'm not doing it. Port Adelaide here, going to go with Mitch Georgiades. I think just at some point he has to take a leap and become an A-grade tall forward in order for Port to have a good season. At the time of recording about an hour ago, the Ken Hinkley-Josh Carr succession plan was announced, and what kind of scares me that no one's really talking about is that when Ken's job is on the line is when Port Adelaide seemingly play their best footy. So if they know it's on the line for an entire campaign, that actually increases their premiership chances, in my opinion. So, look, will they get it done? They're not going to be in my top 2 or 3 fancies for sure, but psychologically, it's something to think about, and it would be kind of ironic that in Ken's last announced year is when they get the flag, and no matter what, Josh Carr will be stepping in. But that's what Collingwood said in 2011. I know they lost that by 6 goals, but made it very awkward. But back to Mitch. If they are going to be successful, that forward line is going to need to hum, as well as, of course, the key defender department. I love Mitch Georgiades. I love the way he played, especially in that semi-final against the Hawks, and I reckon he's ready to grab a season by the scruff of the neck. And then last but not least, the Swans. I'm actually going with Tom Papley here, who I know has had more CBAs in the last 18 months than he has for the entirety of his career. But Logan McDonald's going to miss the start of the season. Outside of the 9-goal game against the Crows, Joel Amati kicked 38 goals, I think, in about 22 games. So you're looking at just over a goal and a half a game there, which is still pretty good. Will Hayward is certainly still an option. I'm not denying that for a moment. But I think going into a game this year, the forward you need to stop and the most dangerous on the field is Papley. And whether he's going to keep swapping and changing with Isaac Heaney, how that midfield forward block is going to split, I should say, looks is going to be ultra fascinating. But I think if Sydney are going to take that next step, then yes, their midfield, are they going to kick as many goals this year as they did last year? It's almost impossible to predict that they're going to get 100 goals out of Goulden, Warner and Heaney. So where the hell do they go from there? Well, you add Callum Mills to that forward mix, you let Tom Papley get back to his All-Australian small forward form and watch him dominate. I'm backing them in to do that. So Paps is my prediction. Now, the single lock, the double lock, the triple lock. Let's go through it. So the single lock, the player that I am going to gamble an extra point on is going to be Bailey Fritsch. The double lock, I am going to put on Ben King. And the triple lock, I am going to go to North Melbourne with Nick Larkey. So make your predictions down below, and even if you want to do just your club, a few clubs, everyone you disagree with, just keep it civil in the comments. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe to join the Daz Talks Footy family, and there will be a third video this week that comes out Friday night. So keep an eye out for that, you absolute superstars. I hope you're having a fantastic day and an even better week, and I will see you in the next video.